Heyo, welcome to my tutorial on how to make a hat for the game Team Fortress 2. Today we're just going to be going over the bare bone basics on how to get started and what to do. To get started, you're going to need an idea or a concept. To demonstrate, I quickly drew this in Photoshop. It's not meant to be anything extraordinary, but it will get the job done. With this tutorial, I'm not going to go through how to 3D model, as that is a whole concept that can be done in another video, and there's countless videos on YouTube on how to do that with Blender or any other modeling software you want to use. Personally, I use Blender because it is free and pretty user-friendly. Here I'm speeding up footage of me blocking out the hat. I started with a circle and slowly maneuvered it into shape of a top hat. I'm not a professional by any means, so my method of 3D modeling may be a little bit more ham-fisted or not sophisticated as a proper professional would model. When making an item for Team Fortress 2, don't worry about things being perfect and straight, because nothing in real life is, but also in TF2 things are a bit more messy and blocky, as well as nothing is clean. So when making a model, add in a few dents here and there, or make the shape a little bit more fun to look at, because no one wants a basic cylinder on their head. Once you're happy with the shape of your model for your hat, we can move on to the texturing phase. Before you begin texturing, you're going to need to unwrap your hat as if you just cut it up and you laid it all flat. Once you're happy with your UV layout, you're going to want to bake an ambient occlusion as well as a point light map. There is no written rule that says that you need a point light map, but point light maps help give hats that extra push to give them a bit of fake lighting and a gradient, which can make the hat look 10 times better if done right. Once you have your ambient occlusion and point light map, you want to combine them in your texture program of choice. I use Photoshop. As you can see, I applied a green color to the ambient occlusion and point light map to see how it would look on the heavy model inside of Blender. From there, I went on to color individual parts with more realistic colors you would find inside of Team Fortress 2. While working on items, you may come up with ideas that are better than the initial concept. For example, in my original concept, the hat was supposed to be a gray and a red band, but while working on the item, I took inspiration from Heavy's outfit to make it fit his look a bit more, so I made the top hat a darker color like his vest. As I mentioned earlier in the video, Team Fortress 2 is not clean. The game has a gritty, dirty look to most of its stuff. So as you can see here, I'm taking a square brush with a darker color and adding a bit more depth and grit to the hat to give it a bit more of a look that it's been worn by a merc in the game rather than fresh off of a shelf. Another detail you can add to your items is edgeware. Edgeware helps give it the look that the edge is bumped somewhere and is consistently getting touched or having something brush against it. Once you're happy with your texture, what you're going to want to do is, if you want any parts of your hat paintable, you're going to take the area that you want paintable and make it white. Then in the alpha channel, you're going to make everything you don't want paintable black and the paintable area white. Before we are ready to bring the hat into the importer, you're going to want to make level of detail models, or LODs. To elaborate further on what level of detail models are and what they do, the engine uses them to replace one another. So, for example, if a scout is standing in front of you, it would be using level of detail model 0. If they were, let's say, 5, 6 feet away from you, then it would use level of detail model 1. And then if let's say they are 10, 20 feet away or across the map, they would use level of detail model 2. The scout model uses a lot more than 3, but hats, we need 3. Some people think level of detail models are not as important as the rest of the item, but as an example, here's an item that didn't do level of detail models correctly and ended up in game and got backlash due to it. Your 3 level of detail models need to consist of the following. First, level of detail model, or LOD0, will consist of 1,400 polygons or less. LOD1 will need to consist of 1,000 polygons or less, while the third level of detail model, or LOD2, will consist of 700 polygons or less. Your model can have less than 3 level of detail models, but they will need to fall underneath 1,000 or 700 polygons. Once your 3 models are finished, then you're going to need to export them from your modeling software of your choice. You can export them as SMDs or DMXs, as those are the models that the importer accepts. Now you're ready to use the importer. First, you're going to click this wrench, then you're going to click Publish New Item, then click Cosmetics, select the class that you're making the item for, name your item, then upload each one of your models. First will be level of detail 0, then 1, then 2. Then you're going to upload the texture, select your file, click OK, and then preview. If you've done this all correctly, then your item should show up on the importer on the class of your choice, and you're almost ready to finish your item. Now let's make it paintable. Click this here, and your item should now be paintable, but we didn't do it correctly because we uploaded the Photoshop document instead of a TGA. So due to this, it'll paint the whole hat rather than just the area we want. We can fix this by going into Photoshop and saving the Photoshop document as a copy, as a TGA, and then open that in the importer, click OK, then preview, and now the hat should paint the region that we originally wanted. But as you can see, the band was white, and we don't want that. We want it to be team colored. So what we want to do is select specific team, get the color value that we want from Photoshop, now we change the number values in color tint base to the colors that we want for both teams. Then once you do that, you can click OK and then preview, but make sure that you have the texture file uploaded for both teams. Click preview, and then the hat should now be team colored. And just make sure to double check that all your level of detail models and textures look correct. One of the final things you need for your item is a backpack icon. The backpack icon needs to be 512 by 512, but you're only allowed to use a 512 by 328 region. As you can see here, I made a pink rectangle of the area that you're allowed to actually use. Here I'm making a placeholder so that I can compile the model and then use it in a program like TFMV. Here I forgot to make an alpha channel. Make sure you do that, otherwise the item will not work. Adding an alpha channel allows it to be transparent inside of the backpack. That way it's not a black background. Click verify and then finish. Now your model is fully compiled and you can open it inside of a program like TFMV. Click workshop and then it should be the latest model there. then click Load to HLMV. Now your item is ready to go and take screenshots for the submission, but for this we're going to be taking a screenshot for the backpack icon. Here you're going to want to set the FOV to 20 and then center your picture and click screenshot. Once you're happy with your image, you can go into the screenshots folder and then drag that into Photoshop and create a backpack icon inside of the region that it allows. Then in the alpha channel, make sure that everything but the hat is black and the hat itself is white. And now save as a TGA and you have a backpack icon that should work in Team Fortress 2. From here, click verify, then finish. You'll be brought back to this page here, and that means that your model is fully compiled. You can get your model now from the Team Fortress folder from Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Team Fortress 2. Go to the TF folder, then Workshop, and then Import Source. Scroll down to finding your item, then open up the zip here, click Game, and then your Materials and Model folder should be here, and it has everything ready to go if you wanted to make a poster in Source Filmmaker. To get to your Source Filmmaker files, go to your Common, Source Filmmaker, Game, and I recommend you drag it into your user mod folder. That way it doesn't merge with the normal TF2 files. If you've done everything correct up to this point, you should now be able to find your model inside of SFM. From here, you can start making a fun poster or something to show off your item to make it look and feel like something that people would want in the game. For this tutorial, I'm making a super basic poster, but you can go all out and have fun with it. Once you rendered your images, don't forget to make a thumbnail for your item. Just make sure that it is a square and you should be good to go. One thing that people like to do is add a frame around it to help it pop. Now you want to open Team Fortress 2 back up, go to the wrench, publish new item, and click cosmetic. Then in the bottom left there's going to be a magnifying glass. Find your item and open it up. Make sure to double check your item to see that it is in working condition and ready for upload. Click OK, verify finish, put in a nice description, click browse to upload a thumbnail, and then click any tags that are consistent of your item. Then you can upload stuff in the Steam browser here, but I tend to open up a browser outside of Steam and then upload my images for the submission there. Then once you're happy with your submission, click finalize, and ta-da, you've uploaded an item for Team Fortress 2. Hopefully this tutorial has helped you on getting started in making items for Team Fortress 2. If you have any questions or something didn't make sense in this video, leave it in the comments below and I will try my best to help. Thank you and stay safe.